The energy inside Indiana Fever camp shifted overnight. And while the headline stayed silent, the atmosphere told a much deeper story of brewing friction and high-stakes evolution. This wasn't a scripted announcement. It was a visceral transformation that became undeniable the moment Sophie Cunningham broke the silence and connected the invisible dots for everyone watching. At the epicenter of the storm sits Caitlin Clark, operating under an absolute microscope, where every possession is heavy with a crushing weight of expectation. But the real complexity emerged when Raven Johnson's distinct, relentless rhythm collided with the existing system. What began as structured, controlled rotations quickly fractured into telling moments of hesitation and misconnections. Small, jagged reactions that exposed the truth in high-pressure environments long before any official statement. As these two elite styles grind against one another to find a new gear, the court has turned into a pressure cooker where instincts are being replaced by overthinking, and every single movement is now a calculated battle for positioning. The ball is moving differently. The spacing is tightening, and we are witnessing the raw, unfiltered tension of a powerhouse team forced to either align their stars or buckle under the intensity of their own ambition.
Nonsense surrounding this Raven Johnson selection. Me personally, I'm now rooting for Raven Johnson. I want her to play well with Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever, as I do all the players on the team. But with the draft pick, there was a lot that came with that. There's a lot going on with South Carolina fans and Caitlin Clark fans online and stuff like that. People getting threatened, all types of stuff. It has gone way too far. Like, it's not that serious. Caitlin Clark finally addressed sharing the court with Raven Johnson. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
Talked about creating depth in the backcourt, especially your injuries last year, Kelsey going until the wheels fell off.
Now, the reporters' questions are kind of low for whatever reasons.
What do you think about having Ty and Raven kind of backing up the backcourt?
Yeah.
Okay, so they just asked her, what do you think about Raven potentially backing you up in the backcourt and potentially basically you guys being teammates and playing together, basically? What do you think about it?
Talked about kind of playing off the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit of on-court rest. What do you think about playing?
Yeah, well, I think that's going to be something like that's what you have training camp for, and that's what you have the preseason games for, is to try different lineups and to try different people and, to give the people that are...
The narrative has shifted from internal friction to a public-facing battle for identity as the Indiana Fever navigate the volatile gap between hype and reality. With coaching systems under fire and roles being reshaped in real time, the conversation has moved beyond raw talent to a high-stakes puzzle to fit, a process that is never silent and rarely painless. As practice clips circulate and the digital world begins to dissect every micro-interaction, the internal pressure has officially gone global, turning body language and split-second reactions into public evidence. Sophie Cunningham's insight acted as a catalyst, reframing these awkward on-court moments not as a collapse, but as a sharp, necessary transition toward alignment. In a world that demands immediate results, the team is currently trapped in a pressure cooker that either builds a powerhouse or breaks a foundation. Yet beneath the noise, a clear intention is finally emerging. This isn't just a quest for highlights anymore. It is a visible, uncomfortable, and aggressive evolution where every adjustment is being watched by a world that is no longer asking for potential, but demanding answers.
In the league, that's where I thrive. Unapologetically, Caitlin. Unapologetically, Caitlin, not saying, oh, but this great and that great and this great. Oh, they're all so great. No, I'm the best transition player in the league. Love to see it. Love to see it. Let's get into it, shall we? What do you got for us, Caitlin?
I've heard anything I've said.
No.
But Steph has talked about creating depth in the backcourt, especially, with your injuries last year, Kelsey going until the wheels fell off. Just what do you think about, having Ty and Raven kind of backing up in the backcourt? And she also talked about kind of you playing off the ball a little bit, get a little bit of on-court rest. Just what do you think about playing?
Yeah, well, I think that's going to be something like that's what you have training camp for, and that's what you have the preseason games for, is to try different lineups and to try different people and, to give the people that are fighting for roster spots a chance to go out there and compete and perform. Like, I'm not going to go out and play 30 minutes on Saturday. That's just not going to be the case. That's not what it's about. It's, obviously I'm going to go out there and compete as hard as I can, but that's not what we need to do. And, I think a little bit of off the ball stuff. Like, I think mostly on dead balls, like I'm the best I think I'm the best transition player in the league. That's where I thrive. Everybody knows that's my game. So, you know, getting the ball off of rebound or in transition, like that's probably when I'm going to be the primary ball handler more than anything. And then, you know, getting off the ball a little bit and catching your breath. Like, it is exhausting bringing the ball up 94 feet versus pressure every single time. So we certainly need to find somebody that can handle the ball a little bit and, you know, give me a little bit of a break. And I think Raven and Ty and even other people through camp, Tori's done a great job. And, you know, Kels does it a little bit. And even I.
Getting off the ball a little bit, Steph, a little bit. Taking a breather just a little bit. A little bit. Okay. Now my question is, Stephanie. When Caitlin Clark is off ball while somebody else is bringing the ball up, this is the question that not only I have, but many of people have, and this is our main gripe with the off ball. Are we going to get her the ball back? Are we going to put schemes in place and Caitlin Clark in position and play?
Scenes and just things like that.
Shout out to those guys. A lot of those guys are like part-time workers for the Fever and put in a lot of time. They really feel like full-time employees, but they're paid as part-time employees. And, you know, a lot of former college hoopers or some that have even played pro overseas that are back and are looking for runs as well, and just very selfless people. And a lot of the time people play pickup and they're playing to a score. Like, we kind of changed it up to make it a little bit more game-like, where we're playing like time. So kind of playing like to the first media timeout, or like a 6-minute game, a little bit more than a media timeout. So you can kind of feel I mean, obviously there's only so much you can do to replicate a real game. You're never going to fully get that, but doing everything we can to kind of replicate that. And then, you know, we're playing like a certain amount of that. And then, you know, tracking, like, you know, obviously there's such great technology, like heart rates wise, and, you know, a chip that can track like your accelerations and things like that. So I can kind of see that and then compare that to game data that we've had from my rookie year, and then the few games that I did play in my second year. And then even tracking that when I was at USA, it gives me a really good gauge of like, I'm not guessing, like I'm understanding like what the data is telling me, you know, acceleration wise. And then I can kind of relate that to how my body's feeling, and then go from day to day of, you know, do I want my load to be heavier? Do I want it to be a little bit lighter? Do I want it moderate? And then you can kind of stack those days from there. So, really more than anything, like using data to kind of build my workouts and build my weeks, I think has been really helpful.
All right, man. The GOAT is ready, man. The GOAT is ready. She's put the time in. She's done the maintenance work. The Ferrari was in the shop. Caitlin Clark is a Ferrari.
What makes this moment critical isn't the clarity, but a volatile uncertainty that commands global attention and amplifies the pressure on every single move. We are standing at a crossroads where the next few sessions will dictate whether these jagged moments of friction vanish into a championship rhythm or escalate into a systemic fracture. This is no longer just about building chemistry in a vacuum. It's a high-stakes evolution being analyzed in real time by a world looking for cracks in the foundation. The ultimate question is whether we are witnessing the standard, uncomfortable growing pains of a super team, or the undeniable emergence of a deeper conflict that will redefine the Indiana Fever season. Everything hinges on what happens next. Either the roles lock into place, or the noise becomes too loud to ignore.